And when you really get down to it, McIntyre is probably their best talent. Let's be real. I know he could seem a little one dimensional, but when you realize like how much he's grown, and he's also left and came back, but I think it might be time for him to do that again. He only has but so many years left to really reinvent himself. Likewise with Seth Rollins, you only have but so much time left to really reinvent yourself and define a new avenue of what you want to do with the rest of your career. You see CM Punk right now making that transition backstage of where I would really like to see CM Punk and how I really see CM Punk being used. I don't want to see CM Punk wrestle. I want to see CM Punk manage somebody. I want to see CM Punk being the smarmy guy who takes up a fight, might even win a few fights or whatever, but it's basically like backing up Omos or something like that, you know? Kind of like what Shane. I see CM Punk is like Shane McMahon's evil twin. And it's like everything you really want out of Shane McMahon, because every time Shane comes back, there's a huge, like, it's rare that you get in there, you do what your dad's business was, but your dad's managing from the back, but you jump across a fucking ambulance or something into Kane, and you have a feud with freaking Kane of all people. You know, he's goated. Shane McMahon is goated. You know, and he stays in great shape. He's goated. You know, and there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of politics in WWE, and rightfully so because this is the top of the mountain, and everyone's trying to get to the mountaintop, but there's no room at the top. I feel like CM Punk is like a modern day Raven, and in the same way now, you know, if Raven was to come back, and he is in wrestling right now, he's in MLW right now, and you could look exactly at how this is exactly what I mean. Like, but he's like a modern day Raven, and like the fact that Raven's like nearing the end of his career, end of his life, you know, God bless the man, you know, but he's nearing the end of his career. What is he doing? Is he in the middle of the ring taking bumps? No, he's looking at the guy like you better not fucking touch me. 'Cause if you touch me, all these guys are gonna be on your ass. You know, CM Punk is a misanthrope. You know, he is not someone who and misery loves company. You know, when you're living your dream, you're experiencing pure joy, you're experiencing pure peace and pure bliss. That's not something you could really share with everybody because everyone isn't like that. And some people are very jealous of that. Some people are very intimidated by that. You know, a lot of people have resignated themselves to living a miserable existence. To see you enjoying your life pisses them off, you know? So, regardless of what you can say, Raven was a Marine. He was a professional wrestler. Now he's still professional wrestling well into his 60s or 70s. Like, the man is goated, you know? Like, in a way that he's accomplished more than most men ever will in their entire lifetimes. And because of that, he could come across as ornery and cranky and but because he's being authentic and he's being himself, he's not being a kiss ass. You know, he's not fucking sucking anyone's dick for cocaine in the back of the fucking building or for some fucking weed. Like, I'm not gonna say Matt Riddle. I'm not gonna say Matt Riddle. No, I won't do it. I won't bring myself to say Matt Riddle. God bless him. God bless Matt Riddle. I hope he figures this shit out. That's a good guy. But I feel like CM Punk's best role right now is as the coach. He's trying to teach. He's in that phase of generativity in which all he really wants to do right now is to give back and to give back and to give back. Just like Seth Rollins with his back, with his foot, there's only but so long that he could do this. And he's going to have to change up his entire wrestling style to wrestle in WWE, especially to beat Roman Reigns, to even be a contender against Roman Reigns, because he got squashed against Moxley, which had to be done. He had to get squashed by Moxley because Punk beat the entire Shield 10 years ago. So he had to get squashed. And probably with Roman Reigns, it's probably going to be a squash match. And then he's going to rile himself back up. He's going to get back into it and probably get the W on the second one on a lesser pay-per-view. But I just feel the real purpose of CM Punk is to be coaching and teaching right now. I feel like Seth Rollins is like the Antichrist of the WWE. I feel like CM Punk is like the second coming of professional wrestling. There are so many homages when CM Punk wrestles. There are so many different tributes to other people when he wrestles. And even when he does his promo, the way that he name drops and includes other people to create this continuous storyline where people can either be bolstered by what he says and they come to his rescue, or they're pissed off by what he says and now there's a feud later down the road. The man is an amazing storyteller. He understands this business as a fan of the business, as a fan of not just the front of it, but also the back end of everything as well. The little fine tunings like the facial expressions, the beats and the notes, the match psychology. Rollins is the opposite, in which Seth Rollins was the greatest indie wrestler to ever exist, to ever exist, to becoming the best corporate wrestler that exists, even better than Roman Reigns. Because if it really came down to Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins is beating Roman Reigns every single time. If you include all the bullshittery that goes along the ring, then great. But, Seth Rollins reminds me a lot more of Shawn Michaels than CM Punk does. I'll definitely say that. Or the back page of the notes now. There wasn't that many notes in the front, though, I'll tell you. There's a difference between Rollins kind of being the industry plant as the Shield, as the architect, as the betrayer guy, as the authority, as the cult leader, and everything is done to push Rollins to the absolute most, Punk was the exact opposite of that, and Punk took the long road, he took the hard road. Literally, in fact, that Rollins stayed. It reminds me so much of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I know this is like a really crazy connection, but in the fact that Yusuke is just like living on the streets. Yusuke is the best duelist that there is, but Yusuke is just living on the streets, living underground, doing nothing but riding his unicycle and playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Jack Atlas remained, he joined the Authority, became the most popular Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of his time, Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Racer, whatever the hell they call it. And it just kind of reminds me of that so much. Seth Rollins reminds me so much of Shawn Michaels, so much of Ric Flair. CM Punk reminds me a lot of Bret Hart and a lot of Raven. He knows how good he is. He does not need the fans to tell him. He does not need authority. He knows how good he is. He knows how much time and effort he puts into this. He knows how much he cares. What can I really say about the rest of Raw? Raw isn't a bad product. I feel like the issue with Raw is that when you're the crowd achievement show for so long, there's no one that you can really learn from anymore. And it's hard to innovate, it's hard to be creative because you have a system that works already. And I would just say that Raw has a great system that works. I do like and enjoy the Alpha Academy spots. I do really enjoy the Judgment Day spots. But it just feels like I'm watching people trying to relive their Attitude Era, fantasies and dreams. Like, there are different eras of when they got into professional wrestling. But I only really see Rhea Ripley in the WWE. I'll single her out. Rhea Ripley is the only one that I see in the WWE trying to redefine this entire thing and make it her own, in which she doesn't really have any past. And this is what I mean by this. But the whole, if you're the premier show, Rhea Ripley was not the premier show. She doesn't really have any past female role models that she can base herself off of. She now finds herself in a place where she is the female role model. So she has to create what that legacy is going to be herself. There's not a lot of women around her that can help her with that. All she can do is be the very best. I think that's the exact same thing with CM Punk. No one's going to be able to teach the other people if they're not willing to do the things that may not work and that are brand new. If they're willing to go to brand new spots and brand new places that they've never been before, just to have the positive or negative experience, to make friends and to make enemies, because you're probably going to end up doing both. I feel like Seth Rollins and CM Punk are the two most important figures in modern day professional wrestling, in which you have a guy who's left the industry. And I don't really think Seth Rollins done movies unless he's done one of those fucking Marine movies or something. But I feel like Seth Rollins has just been focused on becoming the greatest professional wrestler of all time. I don't think CM Punk is a professional wrestler. I feel like CM Punk is a superstar. I feel like if Seth Rollins had gone to AEW and this had been the shoe on the other foot, I think if Seth Rollins, I think about it like this, I think about it like this. Let's go back 10 years. I think if Seth Rollins was the one who was like, CM Punk beating the three of us is bullshit. Like, me, Ambrose, and Reigns are your top stars. You've invested everything into us. This guy does nothing but talk shit about you, and you give him fucking everything. Fuck you guys. And instead of turning his back on Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, his two friends, he turns his back on the company. He does what CM Punk does. Seth Rollins leaves. Seth Rollins explores his interests. He builds his family. He finds a different wife other than Becky Lynch. God bless their child. God bless their marriage. But he probably finds a different partner because he wouldn't have been the hypergamous peak of professional wrestling at that point in time. She wouldn't have been the hypergamous peak of professional wrestling at that point in time. He would have been out of wrestling. He would have been doing his own thing. He probably would have went back to Ring of Honor. He probably would have went to MLW. He probably would have went to Impact. He probably would have just lived and did his own thing for a while. But I think the difference between Punk and Seth Rollins is that Rollins loves to wrestle. And I think Rollins, if he had left 10 years ago, I think in this 10-year time span, Rollins would have probably done, could have probably been what Kenny Omega tried to become. In which Rollins would be where Alex Shelley is. Alex Shelley is the greatest technical wrestler of all time. God bless Zack Sabre Jr. But Seth Rollins could have been what Alex Shelley is. Instead, he got stuck in something that works. He got stuck in a gimmick that fits. And, that's probably one of the best things that you can get in professional wrestling is to find something that gets over and to keep using it to get over. But every time he's tried to recreate himself, it doesn't work. He's stuck in the authority gimmick. That isn't what happened. And I just I know it's like all the K word. I'm gonna get canceled for that. I know it's all kayfabe. But I feel like behind the scenes, Rollins and Punk could probably find a way to get along. But I think that perspective of 10 years ago, It could have been Punk that stayed and was just grateful for what he had, got the time to rest his back and to heal up. But when you're doing house shows and you're the top performer, it's hard to just write you off, I imagine. Uh, Apparently not with Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns has fucking cancer. So I know a lot of people shit on him for like missing time and having time off, but I imagine like going through chemotherapy or whatever the fuck he's doing to be in remission and to stay healthy is probably extremely exhausting and demanding on his body. Roman Reigns has fucking leukemia. He has cancer. So let's just be honest and be patient with him because this might be the last Roman Reigns run we ever see. So let's be grateful for it because this is one of the best runs ever. So this was World War Wrestling episode 1. I know I went to a lot of places. My next episode, I want to try to talk about NWA, if I may. But I haven't really seen NXT yet. And I might give NWA like a little rewatch as well so I could better take some notes and be back with you.